Hi, hey, how's it going? What's up? What's happening, fellas? Fellas, give me some advice. Do I appoint mods? We have to make this decision now. We gotta jump right into this. All right, here's what I'm gonna do. Randomly, I'm just gonna add three moderators at random. I don't even I don't even care. Just randomly. One, two. I can't even. The text is going so quickly. I can't even like select a person to make a mod. Okay. One, two. One, two. Oh my god. My computer's actually lagging because it's going by so quick, and I'm trying to select someone to be a mod. Okay, we have three moderators. This is the way you're supposed to appoint mods. You close your eyes, you pick three at random, and just see how it goes. It's better than just keeping the same old mods over and over again, don't you think? Don't you think? Okay. Yeah, this is a great idea. You know what? Here, I'm gonna do one more. You know, I picked the wrong person. This live stream goes down, but it's fine. One of the mods that I just made a mod says Dreg, choose me, or whatever. You know, not yet. Okay. So here's the thing. Fellas, you can hear me okay? You can hear me okay? I assume you can hear me okay. I've got a book. It's by this guy called Nick Land. Now you may ask, who is Nick Land? Does anybody in the chat perhaps know who Nick Land is? Perhaps? I think there's like a 2-second delay, so I ask a question and then brief delay. Maybe an extremely long delay. Okay, no, hold up. I think there's like probably like a 10-second delay. All right, listen, I'm gonna say a word, and then everybody in chat just say that word. Ooh, is that a bad idea? No, it's fine. 5, so that I can process this. This is a test for me, as you can probably tell, because I don't. This is my second live stream. Thank you for being here, by the way. It's gonna be bad. You know this. I know this. But we can just suffer through this together. All right, you know what? I don't care. I don't care about the plebs. I'm not going to listen to the chat. I'm just going to do whatever I want, huh? Fanged Noumena. Now you may ask, who is Nick Land? And what is a Noumena? Good questions. All of these good questions. So here's the thing. I know who Nick Land is, but you probably don't know who Nick Land is because I'm a genius. And if you know the name Nick Land, then you're immediately better than most people. You're just superior to them because you know a name. So Nick Land has written this pretty lengthy collection of writings from 1987 to 2007. 1987 to 2007. So he wrote this over a long period of time. Holy shit. People are just saying 5 now, which means this live stream is at least like a full minute delayed, which means there's like no chance of me being able to respond in real time to anybody who's chatting with me. That's something I will figure out at some point. Holy shit. Yeah. This is very delayed. I'm letting you know this because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Okay. So, Nick Land is a famous anarcho-primitivist. That's why his last name is Land. It's because he actually lives off the land. We're just going to start. Nick Land is something of a... Nick is often described as a transhumanist, but, you know, he's really more of a post-humanist in the sense that a transhumanist kind of thinks that some amount of humanity will transcend their mortal coil. get on into the next phase of human evolution and become something which is still, recognizably human. Post-humanist is more along the lines of something like whatever is going to come after humans will not be recognizably human. So, if you build a robot and the robot transcends this more coil and becomes a higher dimensional being, then, it's not a human, is it? So quick rundown here. I'll show you the table of contents. I'll show you what the table of contents looks like, and show you why Nick Land is an important philosopher. Does this work? Is this going to focus? You know what? We'll just figure it out. And don't get your hopes up if you super chat me, because I'll probably miss at least 60% of them. You know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna read. This is a reading stream. I'm gonna read. So he talks a lot about Kant, Capital and the Prohibition of Incest, Narcissism and Dispersion in Heidegger's 1953, Delighted to Death, Art as Insurrection, Spirit and Teeth, Shamanic Nietzsche. There's a lot of shit in here. It's a long book. We're not getting through the whole thing. I'm not gonna get through the whole thing like I do with Posadis for his essays. I think what's probably best is I will pick one of these random sections that looks good, and I will I'll just start reading whatever section sounds good. So yeah, it's a great idea. I'm looking in chat. I'm seeing just a wave of spam, which is good. Which it means that the mods I've appointed are doing well. I mean, they didn't ask to be mods. I just picked random people, so I genuinely don't care. Just someone, if someone is like, oh, they should be mods, well, there are mods now. Congratulations, good job. Okay. It's also, what should be noted is one of the chapters here. I don't know if you can see this. One of the chapters here is basically, if this focuses, basically, oh my god. It's just a string of random numbers, like and then if you go to the section of the book that's referencing, it's kind of like this this string of completely incomprehensible garble. So I see something in chat says read hypervirus. I'm very high in trait agreeableness, and I'm going to do it. Hypervirus. Ooh, 383. All right, let's just do it. I claim not to care about the plebs, but then I listen to the first one I see. What does that say about me? 383. Whatever ultramodernity places under the domination of signs, postmodernity subverts with virus. As culture migrates into partial machines lacking an autonomous reproductive system, semiotics subsides into virotechnics. And then there's a string of binary 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1. I like how I'm 2 paragraphs into this essay and it's completely incomprehensible. What's also important to note is Nick Land, the big into computers. Nick Land, he was what we in the business call very passionate about computers. If you pick up on what I mean by that, like very passionate, like maybe a little too passionate about computers, very into computers. Okay. Having no proper substance or sense beyond its replication. Yes, no, usage of virus is ever metaphorical. The word virus is more virus. Postmodern culture chatters out virus. 0, 1, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, 1, 0, string of binary. Virus, viroductile, virogenic, immunosuppressor, and or meta, and or hypervirus. What's important to note here is that Nick Land is the greatest contemporary philosopher of our time. Holy fucking shit. It goes on. I think this is one of those incomprehensible chapters. Again, I don't know if I can make this focus on the actual text, just to prove that I'm not making this up. But yeah, turn on slow mode. Do I look like I know how to run a live stream? I think this is quite okay. I actually like this this pace in chat. It means It means, you circulate through a lot of good ideas very quickly. And we shouldn't be slow. We should be quick. We should be very fast, if you get what I'm trying to say here. Okay, I'm gonna I'm gonna flip around this hypervirus chapter, and then I'm gonna look at the chat, and if someone is suggesting another part of the book that I should be going to, then I will do that. I'm also going to add 3 more mods at random. One of them is posting communist symbols, so I'm going to make them a mod because we all love communism here. And another one just is saying mods are gay, so I'm going to make him a mod because I like the dramatic irony of it. And this one guy just posted a bunch of Arabic, so I'm going to make him a mod too. I say him, so I think we have 5 mods. Okay, 5, almost like a number. Ooh, a number that's important, because numbers are important. I don't know what I'm getting at here. All right. Okay. A super chat just whizzed by. I don't know how to check them, and I also don't want to encourage people to give money to me. So I think it was something like, what's higher on the wacky spectrum, anarcho-monarchism or Poseidism, maybe. It would probably be. I think all the wacky ideologies are about equally as wacky. Again, I'm trying not to get distracted here. At the back of this book, there's just all this schizophrenic. Okay, maybe not the right word. There's all this scrawling of just this scrawling that. The reason I say schizophrenic is because schizophrenia, like my uncle, for example, kind of schizophrenic, and this kind of stuff is very, very similar to the kind of stuff that he writes. So Land wrote all of this. It's numerology, I think, something related to numerology. It is. I don't understand any of it, but I've also seen forum posts talking about stuff based off of this garble. So at the very least, it's not incomprehensible. It's like you can read this and be like, oh, I know what he's getting at here. I also don't think calling the writing a little, at least like a little schizo seeming, is unfair, because he writes, he talks a lot about the fact that it kind of looks schizophrenic in the writing itself. So I'm going to start at the first essay. This one looks boring. It's called Kant, Capital, and the Prohibition of Incest. What am I thinking? I can't even say that word on stream. This is a bad idea. I'm gonna pick a different chapter. A lot of people. Oh my God. I forget about stuff like you have to like censor yourself live if you're doing stuff live. So like I normally write a script and I make sure most of it's kosher, but I'm pretty sure I can talk about that. Okay, we're gonna. Okay, this one seems safe enough. It's called Art as Insurrection: The Question of Aesthetics in Kant, Schopenhauer, and Nietzsche. All right, it's probably fine. I'm also going to make one more mod randomly. Mod's gay. Yeah, that one. Oh man, I tried to get that guy as a moderator, but my computer's too slow. Anyway, Immanuel Kant's Critique of Judgment is the site where art erupts into European philosophy with the force of trauma. The ferocious impetus of this eruption was only possible in the epoch of attempting to rationalize itself as permanent metamorphosis as growth, which means that it is a trauma quite incomparable with the sort of difficulties art has posed to the Western philosophy since Plato, for it no longer is a matter of irritation, but of catastrophe of our own. The consistency of Kant's critical philosophy throughout all 3 of the great critiques rests in the attention to excess inherent in the conception of synthetic and a priori judgments. The very inception of the critical project lay in Kant's decisive response to the voiding of logical metaphysics, the disintegration of the philosophical endeavor to reduce synthesis that was consummated by Hume. Perhaps nothing was clearer to Kant than the radical untenability of the Leibnizian paradigm of metaphysics still dominant in the Wolffian philosophy of the Prussian state. Now, as you can tell already, reason academia is dead. Like, it's not just me. Like, no one cares about academics anymore, and I'm honestly thrilled about that. I could not be happier. Every time I read about Kant, even if it's in plain English, I'm just checking out. I'm just checking out. No, I'm sure Kant's fine. I don't mean to insult anyone. Oh, Pablo Grass. I'm very content that I made you a mod, my friend. Keep it up, buddy. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do Machine Desire. That one sounds like a fun one. Again, if I get bored, I'm just skipping to the next chapter. The opening of Blade Runner. They are trying to screen out replicants at the Tyrell Corporation. Seated amongst a battery of medico military surveillance equipment, a doctor scans the eye of a suspected skin job located at the other side of the room, searching for the index of inhumanity, for the absence of pupil dilation response to effect. Tell me about your mother. I'll tell you about my mother. A volley of shots kicks 70 kilos of Cirrus-Siat shit through the wall. Techno-slicked extraterrestrial violence flows out of the Matrix. Cyber revolution. In the near future, the replicants, having escaped from the off-planet exile of private madness, emerge from their camouflage to overthrow the human security system. Deadly orphans from beyond reproduction. They are intelligent weaponry of machinic desire, verily infiltrated into the final phase organic order. Invaders from an artificial death. Nick Land also wrote fiction, and it's like kind of not surprising considering the kind of prose that he's using. Pods, politically organized defense systems. Modeled upon the polis, pods hierarchically delegate authority through public institutions, family and self, seeking metaphorical sustenance in the corpuscular fortifications of organisms and cells. The global human security allergy to cyber evolution consolidates itself in the New World Order, or consummate macropod, inheriting all the resources of repression as concrete collective history. The macropod has one law. The outside must pass by the way of the inside. In particular, fusion with the matrix and deletion of the human security system must be subjected, personified, and restored to the macropod, individualized reproducer units as a desire to F the mother and kill the father. It is thus that Oedipus, or transcendent familialism, corresponds to the privatization of desire, its localization within segmented and anthropomorphized sectors of assembly circuits as the attribute of a personal being. Now, what's important to note here is that Nick Land, if you know the name Nick Land, you're all of a sudden you know much more about politics. You're now a cool politics guy. So you now all know about Nick Land. You've heard some Nick Land writings, and now you're more of a politics person. Congratulations. 10 politics points for you. At the back of the book, we have the following text. It says, level 1, or world space, is an anthropomorphically scaled, predominantly vision configured, massively multi-slotted reality system that is obsolescing very rapidly. Garbage time is running out. Can what is playing you make it to level 2? So, what is a Noumena? What is a Noumena? Kant calls a Noumena basically something that exists as it is instead of as what it is perceived as. So, there's this idea of if something is physical, then if you can only really perceive it through your senses, your taste and your touch and your sight and your sound. But then there must be something that it actually is, and that is the Noumena. Now, at the back of the book, level 1, or world space, is vision configured, massively multi-slotted reality system, almost like some kind of simulation. So that's kind of what he's getting at there. It's all very clear. By the way, I didn't. I'm going to make this video unlisted after I'm done with it, but I'm not going to make it private because some people apparently want to watch this shit. So I can't understand how anybody finds this entertaining, but go ahead. I'll let you do it. Okay. Honestly, I'm done with machinic desire. I have the attention span of, I was going to say a goldfish, but I think a person of our generation is probably more accurate. Circuitries. Is this a poem? Is this a poem? Was Nick Land a bit of a poet? That's interesting. I didn't know you did poetry. I'm going to do this like a spoken word poem. The doctor's face seems to swim in and out of focus. You see the pores in his skin scroll by peculiar arrays, and then suddenly, without dissolve, crossing the threshold, filmic cut, a circle of homogeneous flesh-tone nostrils sealed against the deluge, eyes shut and switched off forever, lips, teeth, tongue migrate downwards out of shot, the disc receding its speed towards a point of disappearance in the center of the screen. The old reality is closing down. And then this is where all the accelerationists in the room, they just start snapping. They just start snapping because they appreciate the words. Passing through mathematical punctuality, the dot winks out in pixel death. We apologize for the loss of signal. There seems to be a transmission problem. We are unable to restore the home movie. You were 3 years old, wearing a cowboy hat, standing in the paddling pool, mommy and daddy smiling proudly, but your parents have been vaporized into a dot pattern. Shapes and colors collapsed into digital coatings. We have come to the end of the series, and there will be no repeats of Daddy the Doctor and Mummy the Nurse. There has been a terrorist incident in the film archives. The Western Civilization show has been discontinued. Hundreds of gigabytes. God Daddy the unit. Death Mummy the zero. Stink of excrement and burnt celluloid. You must remember one scrabbling at a zero like a dog. It is the primal scene. You were warned not to play with the switches. Now schizophrenia has adjusted your set. Flies crawl out of the eye sockets of black babies, breeding the dot pattern. And for your special entertainment, we have turned you into a TV-guided bomb. Daddy is a North American aerospace corporation. Mummy is an air raid shelter. Bit parts melt in the orgasm. Body fat burns. Conception. You are -9 months and counting. Don't be scared. Take 20 billion years and universal history is on the screen. Big Bang is to be redesigned. Hydrogen fuses under the arc lights. The camera angles can be improved. Outside the studio, schizophrenics drift in green and black, and you feel that you've been here before. 11:35 on a beautiful capitalist evening. Runaway neon traffic of sex and marijuana. Your death window is rushing up. Almost time for you to climb into the script, which when you're inside is remembering where you came in. We're afraid it's impossible to take you live to the impact site. This report comes from beyond the electromagnetic spectrum. If you climb out through the electrodes, the oxygen mask will descend automatically. Please extinguish all smoking material. Deposit syringes in the tray provided. There will be a slight jolt as we cross over. Thank you for flying with transnational commodification. We shall shortly be arriving in Mayhem. If there is anybody on board who can impersonate a pilot, it would be of comfort to the other passengers. I don't know. I don't know what the fuck I just said. I don't know. I don't know anything that I said. I'm briefly glancing at the chat, and it just seems like a completely off, like nothing, like just spam, and the mod clearly abusing the mod power, and I couldn't be happier, honestly. The only issue that I see is that the rest of the mods aren't spamming anything. So, yeah. All right, let's see what we got here. I'm gonna just flip around until another 20 minutes or so. While I have time. Oh, this one seems interesting. It's called No Future. It's actually, I gotta say, considering the last time I did this, I was reading Posadus. Posadus was very bureaucratic, very, very obsessed with bureaucracy and capitalism and all that stuff. Very academic language. This is clearer, although they are both very, as Nick Land himself would say, schizophrenic. No future. The father's law. Don't touch your mother. The mother's law. Don't play in the tombs. K codes for cybernetics. Bataille incinerates the soul, and it is impossible to endure. You either die or go somewhere else, or both. Clicking on the K-War icon jacks you straight into hell. On all fours, out of your face, mumbling imploringly, let me be your lab animal. You're losing it. collapse into now time zero. You have been dumped into a heterogeneous patchwork of criminal experiments converging upon decapitated social formations. This is where the base materialism intersects cyberpunk. Fuck tomorrow, scrawl on the walls. 5 candles. 5. Ooh, you think I called that? No, I didn't. Thicken nocturnal space. Dimensionality warps. Modernity invented the future. I briefly caught a glimpse. Read the last essay. I'll do that last. But that's all over. In the current version, progressive history camouflages phylogenetic death drive tactics. Kali wave. You know, that almost seems like garbage, but okay, a Kali wave, death drive. Both like Hindu religion, something like that. The death drive is Freudian, though. Everything he's saying individually makes sense, but when he puts it together, I don't get it. Welcome to the matricide laboratory. You want it so bad, it's a slow scream in your head, deleting itself into bliss. Burnt meat dangling from the electrodes, crashed suicide fragments into occult impulses. In the place of a way forward, they deliver a hypermedia product, telling you it's about Georges Bataille. You can't see the connection. Why the helicopters, artificial body parts, and manically dehumanized machine music? There is some confusing material on the cybernetic of vomiting. Obsessive reruns. Text decays into the mutagenic fallout from virtual thermocataclysm. Trying to make something out of Bataille never works. Or maybe it's the drugs. Cut to poor quality late 50s recording of Bataille in a TV studio discussing negative feedback circuitries and social systems. The organizations of sterilized discharges, slaves, cumulative excitement to a quasi-periodic cancellation and reproduction. A vid window in the corner of the screen morphs to the Catholic Church into a thermostat. Bataille curves eccentrically about the horror, but when he gets close to smooth escalation, he blows it. When the implants go in, things will be different. I feel like if we're trying to get to the political core of what he's saying here, we're gonna have to like skip past the introduction, because I've noticed, and this is just something I've noticed in the last 10 minutes. Hold on one second. He always starts his essays with some art bullshit, and as we all know, art has no place in politics. So I think I'm gonna have to just skip past that one. Complexity is not difficulty, but mess, toxic waste, genre disorder. Unlike the docile creature modernist scientist demands, base matter twitches and spits, self-assembling neo-verminous swarms. Just say verminous swarms. Why do you have to say neo-verminous swarms? This guy loves adding neo in front of shit. It bites and spreads disease, tubular moan of digitally irresolvable recyclones. Telecommercial contagions pulse through cybergothic switching systems. Faceless horror. Supraterrestrial, solar or general economics bases itself in consumption. Irreversible matter-to-energy conversion during stellar atomic synthesis. As a closed system or whole individual, the universe is drawn towards the point attractor of entropy maximum. Homogenization into a hiss. S equals K log W. Now I understand that one, but I don't understand how the reference ties back. Cooking through the frozen security codes, you discover that the universe is an iceberg tip jutting out of the chaos, drenched in dark matter. Downstream of starburn, strange things can occur, emerging upon a novum terrain of indeterministic, irreversible, and auto-delinearizing processes. Open systems or partial individuals cross behavioral thresholds, which switch them into dissipators, sifting matter energies flows to select against noise and engender local complexification. Increasing heterogeneity. I've lost it. I've lost it. I'm gonna try to. I'm gonna skip to the last chapter because someone told me to read it. It's called The Dirty Joke. A dirty joke. I say chapter. I mean last thing in this book that is like a coherent thing. I'm just gonna read it. Hopefully, it's not literally a dirty joke because I don't know what I'm allowed to do or say when I'm live on this platform. Okay. Okay. Kill the mods. All right. Fine. Well, we can, before I begin, we can at least kill the mods. Which centrist should be eliminated first? I realized I didn't read any of the super chats. I'm sorry. I don't know how to. One of them said Free Palestine, which of course. So I don't know how to kill the mods, but I'll figure it out. Before I begin, I'm going to figure it out. And then we're going to go for 15 more minutes, and then we're going to call it a night. What the fuck? Oh, my hip. Okay. Interesting. So, okay, I do know how to kill the mods. Interesting. So I can see which ones are mods. Fascinating. Fascinating. But I don't know how to unmod them. You know what? Maybe I'll just let them be for now. Read the Bible. You might be onto something there, my friend. All right, let's keep going with some Nick Land. Okay. Spencer Bryce, excellent work, my friend. Keep it up. Remember, Spencer Bryce, power is everything. I stole Vong's name because it was unused, on the basis of the exact quabalistic entitlement. Yet, at least up here, Vong still confuses itself with me, with ruins and tatters. This might change. Names have powers and destinies. I have decided to let Vong inherit the entire misfortune of my past. Its story might never emerge otherwise. There are rotten threads which even I cannot follow backwards for decades, but they soon cease to be interesting. Better to begin more recently, better in Vong's sense, and so no different from worse. It had pledged itself unreservedly to evil and insanity. Its tool of choice at that time, the sacred substance amphetamine, of which much can be said, but mostly elsewhere. After perhaps a year of fanatical abuse, it was, by any reasonable standard, profoundly insane. A few examples may suffice in no particular order. On one occasion, indicative even to itself, it was in a car being driven by the sister of its thing, the ruin. It was night on a motorway. The journey took several hours. During the previous night, Christmas Eve, it had followed its usual course and fanatically prolonged artificial insomnia. It had spent the time devoted to futile writing practices. It still pretended to be getting somewhere and was buoyant with ardent purpose. But that is another story. Okay. It was accompanied, what's the story? It was accompanied to the early hours by a repetitive refrain from next door, a mediocre but plausible rock song whose insistent lyrics circled around the words, going to hell. I'm just going to skip ahead. This is actually a fairly short story, so I think we're going to actually finish this one. It knew words were for it and laughed idiotically. They must really love the new CD they got for Christmas, it thought, equally idiotically. In the car, it listened to the radio for the whole journey. Each song was different, the genres varied, the quality seemingly above average, the themes tending to be the morbid. This is a cool radio station, it said to its sister. The radio isn't on, its sister replied, concerned. Vong learned that the ruin's unconscious contained the entire pop industry. The ruin learned that it had arrived somewhere on the motorway. Nothing more was said about it. Why upset your family? The ruin had already abused women, in the Kantian sense. It used them as a means to an end, and the end was the ruin of the soul. Pablo, destroyer of ass. When I modded you, I knew you would do great things, which is why it's so painful for me. No, I can't. I can't do it, and I literally can't do it because I select them, and then the messages just keep going. But this is good. This is good. This is the way I prefer the chat to be. This is a cool radio station, it said to its sister. The radio isn't on, the sister replied, concerned. Vong learned that the ruin's unconscious contained an entire pop industry. I read that already. On one occasion, they were wasted on LSD at a fairground in some type of spinning machine. The operator called out, "You're all going to die." Later, back indoors, they plunged deeper into poly drug abuse. By the way, Nick Land, if you're schizophrenic, you shouldn't be doing drugs. It's a bad combination, I know personally. Taken up into an obscure shamanic inspiration, the ruin said, "Let's embrace death, the Dark Mother." Seated on a sofa together, it submitted to an alien ritual authority. It was all very implicit. A finger held to one side of their face-to-faces. First, you collapse everything onto the screen. The finger traverses the visual field. Then you wipe away the screen. It worked truly. The world withdrew and left a landscape of death or hell or cyberspace. Hearts lurching in animal panic. Animals don't like to be dead, however sick their minds might be. She could not deny what had happened, but hated it. That was the beginning of the end, although she went along with far more. Addicted to death, the ruin sought out new victims. Yes, vampires are real, however pitiful. Sifting through the ruin, Vong finds a pattern of woman and LSD linked with things that really did happen. Look out your window. Oh my God, is that Pablo Grass, Destroyer of Ass, outside my window? How did he get there? Hopefully he doesn't murder me. Sifting through the ruin, Vong finds a pattern of woman and LSD linked with things that really did happen. The ruin encountered the Loa with a woman feeding off his fear. Perhaps the differential of terror encouraged it. You know, I'm kind of liking this. I'm kind of liking this random mod vibe. I might just do this forever. No, I'll get actual mods at some point. But I'll have to do it in a way that follows some kind of extremist policy. You know, like we can do like a voting system, and mods will just enforce direct democracy for anarcho-communism. We can just appoint like one mod, and that can be like the monarch at some point. I think we're onto something here. It's gonna be like the Discord 2.0. The ruin encountered the Loa with the woman feeding off his fear. Perhaps the differential of terror encouraged it. Perhaps its sadism and hypocritical compassion overwhelmed its instinct to flee. In any case, it revealed the power of names as calls, and outside entities the size of breeze blocks approaching from the other side of space. Death was the ruin's place now, unambiguously desirable, and she wanted it too, even though it terrified her. Still, the ruin fucked it up somehow. No surprise to Vong. On another occasion, Fresh Kill, it said, "Let's explore death together," or something equally repugnant. She said, "Why can't you do that on your own?" It wondered about that. She was treated worst of all, or perhaps best. Much later, after an aeon of speed and revelation in its sister's car, high-pitched. The ruin had been seeking a monster, but the voice merely castigates it for its moral squalor. "You're so horrible," may have been the first message. All the ugliness in the universe was already impacted into this new regime. Real ugliness, God, guilt, man, and the law of acceptance. You know, I thought I was going to be reading political literature, but I'm actually reading short stories by Nick Land, which is great. I love it. As Vong forensically investigates the relics, I imagine it shudders. Does it truly? Much rests on that. This has already gone on for too long, but then it does. Vong seems to think that there are lessons to be learned from this despicable mess. It describes a labyrinth, which is nothing but an intricate hall of mirrors, losing you in unconscious, which is magnificent beyond comprehension, yet indistinguishable from an elaborate trap. If this is karma, it's not just pain. Who fears that, but ruinous constriction and programmed futility? To burn is one thing. To grovel and beg to burn, quite another. Religion here is merely the opportunity to hate yourself indefinitely. Somewhere along the line, the ruin lost the mortal strength for sexual abuse. Oh my goodness. To continue with that, it would have to be a lesbian, at least. Seen from this side, Vong is the gamble that the ruin lacked cunning. It leaves a question of method, not exactly urgent, but obscurely pressing. Nick Land, you've done it again, my friend. Truly, speaking to the people. Let the people spam the chat. Mods. It's okay. You can let the people spam the chat. There's no need to time anybody out here, okay? We're all friends. We're all one people here, except for the centrists. You can ban anyone who shows any signs of centrism, obviously. All right, and how much time do we have left? 4:10. We got like 10 minutes. I'm gonna read one last piece of Nick Land, okay? Man, your head is haunted. You have wheels in your head. You imagine great things and depict to yourself a whole world of gods that has an existence for you, a spirit realm to which you suppose yourself to be called, an ideal that beckons to you. You have a fixed idea. Do not think that I am jesting or speaking figuratively when I regard those persons who cling to the higher, and because the vast majority belongs under this head, almost the whole world of men as veritable fools, fools in a madhouse. What is it then that is called a fixed idea? An idea that has subjected the man to itself. When you recognize with regard to such a fixed idea that it is a folly, you shut its slave up in an asylum. And it is the truth of the faith to say that which we are not to doubt, the majesty of the people, which we are not to strike against, virtue, against which the censor is not to let a word pass. The morality may be kept poor. Are these not fixed ideas? Are these not spooks? Oh, sorry, it's the wrong book. Spencer Bryce. Pablo. Yes, good. Everybody spam. This is the kind of environment I want to be creating here. All right. I will read one more thing. I will consult the chat as to what to read. We have I'll read off like sections of the book, and you can just tell me which one sounds interesting. Narcissism and Dispersion in Heideggers, 1953. Spirit in Teeth. Machinic Desire. Cultures. Cryptolith. Mechanomics. That sounds good. No Future. Did I read No Future? I know No Future sounds like an interesting thing. Uh-huh. Yeah. I did flip through that. I keep going through these political books, expecting at some point to be like, oh, that's why people read. It's never happened. Never happened once. I'm going to read Mechanomics. 507. Starting the state, it insists. Organicist techno-specialism, pedagogic authoritarianism, and territorial sectoralization that culminates in mass innumeracy. Nick Land needs to stay away from thesauruses. Irrespective of its configuration as educational crises, the suppression of popular numbering practices is both result and presupposition of institutionalized mathematics. State culture, however modern or even postmodern, is modeled upon an ideal despotic voice, logos. The word from on high drafts the signifying chain with all its essential features: unique enunciator, semantic interiority, consecutive signs, formally anticipated conclusion, global application, and interpretive redundancy. When the entropic semiology of senescent states multiplies in enunciation reference, please look at this. Please look at this. Please. I'm gonna do this until it autofocus. Look at this. I want you to look at these words. I want you to look at these words. I want you to look at these words. Okay? For the last 3 minutes, I'm going to be reading some Bible. Okay? I'm going to read off some Bible quotes. It's Deuteronomy 31:6, a classic. I can do everything through Christ who gives me strength. That's the Filipinos 4:13. For with God, nothing will be impossible. Luke 1:37. It's actually a good one. God promises to make something good out of the storms that bring devastation to your life. Romans 8:28. All right. I feel clear-headed now. I feel like we've reset ourselves. Okay. In the last few minutes, I'm going to try to figure out how to manage moderators. It's probably not going to happen though. You know what? I think we're going to call it a day. I think we're going to call it a day here. I don't think it was meant to have this many people. Thank you for coming. I appreciate you being here. I'm still learning how to operate the stream. Um, I'll leave this video unlisted until I feel like I don't want to, and then I'll leave it private. Maybe I'll leave it unlisted forever. Who knows? Um, I privated the last one because I don't like having bad content associated with me. But you can have all the bad content you like. All right. See ya.